Maya Thompson grew up in a small, quiet town just outside Atlanta, Georgia. Her childhood was filled with challenges that many would find overwhelming, but Maya had a spirit that refused to be broken. Her parents worked long hours. Her mother, as a nurse, and her father as a mechanic, to provide for their family. Money was always tight and luxuries were rare, but what the Thompson household lacked in material wealth, it made up for in love and resilience. From an early age, Maya learned the value of hard work, determination, and resourcefulness. She often helped her parents around the house, taking on responsibilities far beyond her years. What set Maya apart from others wasn't just her grit, it was her insatiable curiosity. As a child, she was fascinated by anything related to technology. While other kids played with dolls or action figures, Maya spent hours tinkering with old computers donated by neighbors. These machines were often broken or outdated, but to Maya, they were treasures waiting to be understood. She taught herself how to fix them, reading manuals and watching online tutorials late into the night. By the time she was 12, Maya had built her first app, a simple budgeting tool designed to help families like hers manage their finances better. It wasn't perfect, but it worked, and it gave her a sense of accomplishment that fueled her passion even further. School was both a blessing and a challenge for Maya. Academically, she excelled, earning top grades and impressing her teachers with her sharp mind. However, socially, things weren't as easy. Maya was one of only a few black students in her school, and she often felt out of place. Some classmates teased her for being too smart, while others dismissed her ideas simply because she didn't look like them. Despite this, Maya never let negativity bring her down. Instead, she channeled her energy into her studies and her projects, determined to prove that talent and intelligence weren't defined by race or gender. Her high school years brought new opportunities and new struggles. Maya joined the robotics club, where she quickly became the team's unofficial leader. Under her guidance, the group won several regional competitions, earning recognition from local news outlets. Yet, even in victory, Maya faced subtle biases. At one competition, a judge questioned whether she had really contributed to the team's success, implying that someone else must have done the heavy lifting. Though hurt, Maya chose not to argue. Instead, she let her work speak for itself. Over time, these experiences taught her an important lesson. The world might doubt her, but she couldn't afford to doubt herself. After graduating at the top of her class, Maya earned a full scholarship to one of the most prestigious universities in the country. For the first time in her life, she left the comfort of her hometown and ventured into a world vastly different from what she knew. College was exciting, but it also came with its own set of challenges. In her classes, Maya found herself surrounded by students who seemed to have endless resources at their disposal: expensive laptops, private tutors, and connections to influential people. Meanwhile, Maya relied on secondhand textbooks and late-night study sessions in the library. Still, she refused to let her circumstances hold her back. She threw herself into her coursework, excelling in subjects like computer science and engineering. During her sophomore year, Maya landed an internship at a major tech company. It was a dream come true, but the reality of working in Silicon Valley wasn't quite what she had imagined. Though her skills were undeniable, Maya noticed that she was often overlooked during meetings. Her ideas were sometimes ignored until a white male colleague repeated them. On more than one occasion, clients mistook her for an assistant rather than the lead developer on a project. These microaggressions stung, but Maya used them as motivation to push harder. She poured her heart into every task, determined to prove that she belonged. As graduation approached, Maya began applying for jobs at some of the biggest names in tech. Her resume was impressive: stellar grades, multiple internships, and glowing recommendations from professors. But rejection after rejection followed. Many companies praised her qualifications, but ultimately decided not to hire her, citing vague reasons about cultural fit. The phrase haunted Maya. Was it her skin color, her gender, or something else entirely? Each rejection felt like a punch to the gut, but Maya refused to give up. Instead, she turned her frustration into action, starting her own freelance consulting business. Within months, she had secured contracts with several startups, helping them build innovative software solutions. By the time she turned 25, Maya had achieved more than most people twice her age. But deep down, she still carried the weight of all the doors that had been closed to her. She dreamed of making a name for herself in the tech industry, not just for personal success, but to inspire others who looked like her. Little did she know, fate had something extraordinary in store. A twist that would change her life forever and turn her story into one of triumph against all odds. Though Maya couldn't see it yet, the seeds of greatness had already been planted. Her journey was far from over, and the challenges she had faced were shaping her into someone unstoppable. What lay ahead would test her courage, resilience, and faith. But it would also reveal the incredible power of turning adversity into opportunity. Years passed, and Maya's freelance consulting business grew into something much bigger than she had ever imagined. Her reputation for solving complex problems with innovative solutions began to spread, earning her clients not just from startups, but also from established companies looking to modernize their operations. Despite her growing success, Maya still felt the sting of exclusion that had haunted her since college. She often attended industry conferences and networking events, hoping to connect with other professionals and share her ideas. But no matter how polished her presentations were or how impactful her contributions, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being judged by more than just her work. One particular event stands out in Maya's memory, a tech expo held in San Francisco. It was supposed to be a chance for her to showcase her latest project, an AI-powered platform designed to streamline supply chain logistics. The night before the expo, Maya stayed up late perfecting her pitch. She rehearsed every word, ensuring that her message was clear, concise, and compelling. When the day arrived, she dressed in her best suit, armed herself with confidence, and walked into the venue ready to make an impression. But as soon as she approached the registration desk, the atmosphere shifted. The woman behind the counter glanced at Maya's name badge and frowned. "I'm sorry," she said, shaking her head. "Your name isn't on our list." Maya blinked, confused. She pulled out her confirmation email, showing it to the woman, but the response was dismissive. "There must have been a mistake," the woman said curtly, refusing to budge. A security guard standing nearby chimed in, his tone polite but firm. "Ma'am, I'll need you to step aside so we can assist other attendees." Maya felt a mix of emotions, anger, embarrassment, frustration, but above all, disbelief. How could this happen? She had registered weeks ago and received multiple reminders about the event. As she stepped away from the desk, she noticed people watching her. Some looked sympathetic, others indifferent, and a few even seemed amused. One man whispered loudly enough for her to hear, "Probably just another scammer trying to get in." Those words cut deep, but Maya forced herself to stay calm. She knew better than to let ignorance win. Determined not to waste the trip, Maya decided to observe the event from the sidelines. She wandered around the venue, listening to conversations and studying the exhibits. Though she wasn't officially part of the program, she picked up valuable insights about emerging trends in technology. During one panel discussion, a speaker mentioned the importance of diversity in innovation, claiming that diverse teams produce better results. Maya couldn't help but laugh bitterly under her breath. If only they knew how hard it was for someone like her to even get a seat at the table. Later that evening, Maya found herself sitting alone in a corner of the convention center, scrolling through social media on her phone. That's when she saw it, a tweet from the organizers apologizing for a scheduling mishap. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the keynote speaker scheduled for the following morning had canceled last minute. Panic was setting in among attendees, as the keynote address was one of the highlights of the event. Seeing this, Maya's mind began racing. What if she could fill that gap? What if she could turn this moment of rejection into an opportunity to shine? Without hesitation, Maya drafted an email to the event organizers. In it, she introduced herself briefly, highlighting her accomplishments without sounding boastful. She explained that she understood the challenges of finding a last-minute replacement and offered her services. Her proposed topic? Breaking barriers, innovation through diversity. She framed it as a conversation about how inclusivity drives technological progress, drawing from her own experiences as both a creator and someone who had faced systemic barriers. After hitting send, Maya braced herself for silence or worse, rejection. To her astonishment, the reply came within minutes. The organizers expressed regret for the earlier incident at the registration desk and admitted that they had made a grave error. They apologized profusely and asked if Maya would be willing to step in as the keynote speaker. At first, Maya hesitated. Was this genuine, or were they simply desperate for anyone to fill the slot? Still, she reminded herself of why she was there, to share her story, to inspire change, and to prove that brilliance cannot be contained by bias. With a deep breath, she accepted the offer. Preparing for the keynote address was no small feat. Maya spent the entire night crafting her speech, pouring her heart into every sentence. She wanted to strike the right balance between vulnerability and strength, sharing her struggles while offering actionable solutions. By sunrise, she had written something powerful, a narrative that wove together personal anecdotes, data-driven, arguments, and a call to action for the tech community. Exhausted but exhilarated, Maya reviewed her notes one final time before heading to bed. The next morning, Maya woke up early, her nerves buzzing with anticipation. She chose her outfit carefully, a bold red dress that commanded attention, and practiced her speech in front of the mirror until she felt confident. Arriving at the venue, she was greeted by a member of the organizing team who escorted her backstage. As she waited for her turn to speak, Maya listened to the hum of the crowd gathering in the auditorium. Hundreds of people had come to hear the keynote address, unaware that the person stepping onto the stage would defy every expectation. When Maya finally walked out, the room fell silent. Spotlights illuminated her as she moved toward the podium, her heels clicking against the floor. For a moment she paused, taking in the sea of faces staring back at her. Then, with a steady voice, she began to speak. "Good morning," she said, smiling warmly. "My name is Maya Thompson, and yesterday I wasn't allowed into this very building because someone thought I didn't belong here." Gasps rippled through the audience, followed by murmurs of shock and disbelief. Maya continued, her tone unwavering, "But today, I stand before you as your keynote speaker, not because I sought revenge, but because I believe in the power of turning adversity into opportunity." Her opening line set the tone for the rest of her speech. Maya recounted her journey, starting from her childhood fascination with broken computers to the countless rejections she faced in Silicon Valley. She spoke candidly about the discrimination she endured, not to elicit pity but to highlight the systemic issues plaguing the tech industry. Yet, she refused to dwell on negativity. Instead, she shifted the focus to solutions, emphasizing the importance of diversity in driving innovation. She shared examples of groundbreaking technologies created by underrepresented groups and challenged the audience to rethink their hiring practices, invest in marginalized communities, and create inclusive environments where everyone feels valued. By the time Maya concluded her speech, the room erupted in applause. People leapt to their feet, cheering wildly as tears streamed down Maya's face. Journalists rushed to interview her, eager to capture her story. Social media exploded with praise, with hashtags like #OnTech4All and Innovation Through Diversity, trending worldwide. What no one realized, at least not yet, was that Maya's impact extended far beyond her inspiring words. Unbeknownst to the audience, she was also the founder and CEO of a billion-dollar tech startup specializing in AI-driven solutions for underserved populations. Her company had quietly revolutionized industries ranging from healthcare to education, earning accolades behind the scenes. That day, Maya revealed her true identity, leaving the crowd stunned and humbled. As Maya stepped off the stage, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. This wasn't just a victory for her. It was a victory for everyone who had ever been told they didn't belong. And though her journey had started with rejection, it ended with triumph, proving that sometimes the greatest victories emerge from the deepest wounds. Maya stood at the edge of the stage, her heart pounding like a drum. The auditorium was packed with hundreds of people, tech executives, engineers, entrepreneurs, and journalists, all waiting to hear what she had to say. For a brief moment, she felt overwhelmed by the weight of the moment. This wasn't just another presentation. It was her chance to rewrite the narrative that had followed her for so long. She took a deep breath, straightened her posture, and stepped into the spotlight. The room fell silent as Maya approached the podium. Her red dress shimmered under the bright lights, making her stand out even more. She adjusted the microphone, slightly, looked out at the sea of faces, and began to speak. "Good morning," she said, her voice steady but warm. "My name is Maya Thompson, and yesterday I wasn't allowed into this very building because someone thought I didn't belong here." The words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Gasps rippled through the audience, followed by murmurs of disbelief. Some attendees exchanged glances while others leaned forward, intrigued. Maya paused, letting the tension settle before continuing. "But today," she said, her tone shifting to one of quiet determination, "I stand before you not because I sought revenge, but because I believe in the power of turning adversity into opportunity." Her opening line struck a chord with the crowd, and the room grew still once again. With each word, Maya painted a vivid picture of her life, a journey marked by struggle, resilience, and triumph. She started from the beginning, sharing stories of her childhood in Atlanta and how her fascination with technology began. "I grew up tinkering with old computers," she explained, smiling faintly, as if recalling fond memories. "People would donate their broken machines to my family thinking they were useless, but to me, those computers were puzzles waiting to be solved. They taught me patience, problem-solving, and the beauty of creation." As she spoke, her passion became infectious. The audience listened intently, captivated by her story. She described how she built her first app as a teenager, a simple budgeting tool designed to help families like hers manage their finances better. "It wasn't perfect," she admitted, "but it worked, and that gave me hope. Hope that I could create something meaningful, something that mattered." Maya then transitioned to her college years, recounting the challenges she faced as one of the few Black students in her program. "There were times when I felt invisible," she confessed, "when professors questioned whether I truly understood complex algorithms, or when classmates dismissed my ideas until someone else repeated them. Those moments hurt, but they also taught me an important lesson. The world might doubt you, but you can't afford to doubt yourself." Her honesty resonated deeply with many in the audience, especially those who had experienced similar struggles. Her speech took a poignant turn as she addressed the systemic barriers she encountered after graduation. "I applied to dozens of tech companies," she said, her voice tinged with frustration, "and though my qualifications were strong, I kept hearing the same phrase over and over again: cultural fit. What does that even mean? Does it mean I don't look like everyone else? Does it mean my ideas are too different?" She paused, allowing the question to linger in the minds of her listeners. Then, with renewed energy, she added, "So I decided to carve my own path. I started freelancing, working on projects that aligned with my values, and slowly I built a career that proved those rejections wrong." As Maya continued, she shifted the focus from her personal experiences to broader issues within the tech industry. She presented data showing how diversity drives innovation, citing examples of groundbreaking technologies developed by underrepresented groups. "Diversity isn't just a buzzword," she emphasized. "It's a necessity. When we bring together people from different backgrounds, perspectives, and lived experiences, we unlock possibilities we never imagined." She challenged the audience to rethink their hiring practices, urging them to move beyond tokenism and create genuine opportunities for marginalized communities. To illustrate her point, Maya shared a story about one of her recent projects, an AI-powered platform designed to improve access to healthcare in underserved areas. "This project wouldn't have been possible without a diverse team," she explained. "We brought together doctors, engineers, designers, and community leaders from all walks of life. Their unique insights shaped every aspect of the platform, ensuring it met the needs of the people it was meant to serve." Her example drove home the message that inclusivity isn't just morally right, it's practical, impactful, and profitable. Toward the end of her speech, Maya issued a call to action. "Change starts with us," she declared, her voice rising with conviction. "If we want to build a future where innovation knows no boundaries, we must dismantle the walls that keep talented individuals out. Hire differently, mentor generously, invest boldly, and most importantly, listen to the voices that have been silenced, to the dreams that have been ignored." Her words echoed through the auditorium, leaving a lasting impression on everyone present. When Maya finished speaking, the room erupted in applause. People leapt to their feet, cheering wildly as tears streamed down her face. Journalists rushed to interview her, eager to capture her story. Social media exploded with praise, with hashtags like Carter Tech for All and Innovation Through Diversity trending worldwide. What no one realized, at least not yet, was that Maya's impact extended far beyond her inspiring words. Unbeknownst to the audience, she was also the founder and CEO of a billion-dollar tech startup specializing in AI-driven solutions for underserved populations. Her company had quietly revolutionized industries ranging from healthcare to education, earning accolades behind the scenes. That day, Maya revealed her true identity, leaving the crowd stunned and humbled. As Maya stepped off the stage, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. This wasn't just a victory for her. It was a victory for everyone who had ever been told they didn't belong. And though her journey had started with rejection, it ended with triumph, proving that sometimes the greatest victories emerge from the deepest wounds. The applause that greeted Maya as she stepped off the stage was unlike anything she had ever experienced. It wasn't just the volume or the energy, it was the weight of what it represented. For years, Maya had carried the burden of being underestimated, dismissed, and excluded. But in that moment she felt seen, heard, and validated in a way she never thought possible. As she walked backstage, her mind raced with emotions: relief, pride, gratitude, and even disbelief. Could this really be happening? Was this the same woman who had been turned away from the very building just hours earlier? Backstage, the organizers greeted her with a mix of admiration and guilt. One of them, a middle-aged man named Greg, approached her hesitantly. "Ms. Thompson," he began, his voice trembling slightly, "I can't tell you how sorry we are for what happened yesterday. We failed you, and we failed ourselves. Please know that we're going to make sure something like this never happens again." Maya nodded, accepting his apology but choosing not to dwell on the past. Instead, she focused on the future, the ripple effect her speech could create. As she made her way through the bustling corridors of the convention center, journalists and attendees swarmed her, eager to learn more about the woman who had captivated the audience. Reporters thrust microphones in her face, asking questions about her background, her work, and her vision for the tech industry. Maya handled each interview with grace, using the platform to amplify her message of inclusion and innovation. She spoke passionately about the need for systemic change, urging companies to move beyond performative gestures and commit to meaningful action. "It's not enough to say you support diversity," she told one reporter. "You have to live it, breathe it, and build it into the foundation of your organization." Amid the chaos, something unexpected happened. A young girl, no older than 10, pushed her way through the crowd and tugged at Maya's sleeve. Her wide eyes sparkled with admiration as she looked up at Maya. "Are you really a billionaire?" she asked innocently. Maya chuckled softly, kneeling down to meet the girl at eye level. "Yes, I am," she replied gently. "But do you know what's more important than money?" The girl shook her head, her curiosity piqued. "It's believing in yourself and working hard to make your dreams come true. No matter where you start or what obstacles you face, you can achieve amazing things if you don't give up." The encounter touched Maya deeply, reminding her of why she had fought so hard to get here. It wasn't just about personal success. It was about paving the way for others, especially young girls like this one who might otherwise feel invisible in a world dominated by privilege and bias. Maya posed for a photo with the girl, signing her notebook with the words, "Dream big, stay strong, and never stop learning." By mid-afternoon, news of Maya's keynote address had spread far beyond the walls of the summit. Social media platforms buzzed with excitement as videos of her speech went viral. People from all over the world shared their thoughts, praising her courage and eloquence. Some recounted their own experiences of discrimination, expressing gratitude for Maya's willingness to speak truth to power. Others vowed to take action, pledging to support diversity initiatives in their workplaces and communities. Hashtags like break barriers and innovation for all trended globally, sparking conversations about equity and representation in tech. Maya's revelation about her billion-dollar startup added another layer of shock and awe to the story. Many attendees hadn't realized they were listening to someone whose innovations had already transformed entire industries. Her company, Technova Solutions, specialized in AI-driven tools designed to address real-world problems faced by underserved populations. From predictive analytics that improved disaster response times to educational apps tailored for low-income students, Technova's projects embodied the very principles Maya had spoken about during her keynote. Yet despite her immense success, Maya had chosen to remain relatively low profile until now, focusing on impact rather than fame. That evening, Maya attended a networking reception hosted by the summit organizers. Dressed in an elegant navy blue gown, she navigated the room with confidence, exchanging ideas with some of the brightest minds in the industry. Executives approached her with offers of collaboration, investors expressed interest in funding her next venture, and aspiring entrepreneurs sought her advice. Maya listened intently to each person, offering thoughtful insights while subtly challenging them to think bigger. Don't just focus on profits, she told one CEO. Ask yourself, who does your product serve? Whose lives will it improve? If you can answer those questions honestly, you'll find lasting success. One particularly memorable conversation took place between Maya and a prominent venture capitalist named Sarah Chen. Over glasses of sparkling water, they discussed the lack of funding available to women and minority-led startups. It's frustrating, Sarah admitted. We see so much potential in these founders, but traditional investors often overlook them because they don't fit the mold. Maya nodded knowingly. That's why we need to redefine the mold, she said firmly. If we want to see real progress, we have to invest in unconventional ideas and untapped talent. Trust me, it pays off. As the night wore on, Maya found herself reflecting on everything that had transpired. Just 24 hours ago, she had been standing outside the convention center, rejected and humiliated. Now, she was the center of attention, celebrated not only for her achievements but also for her resilience and authenticity. The irony wasn't lost on her. In fact, it filled her with a profound sense of purpose. This wasn't just about vindication. It was about proving that adversity could be a catalyst for greatness. Before leaving the venue, Maya stopped by a quiet corner to gather her thoughts. She pulled out her phone and scrolled through the flood of messages she had received throughout the day. Friends, mentors, and strangers alike had reached out to congratulate her, share their stories, or simply thank her for inspiring them. One message stood out, a note from her parents. "We're so proud of you, sweetheart," it read. "You've always been our shining star, and now the whole world sees it too." Tears welled up in Maya's eyes as she reread the words. Despite all her accomplishments, nothing meant more to her than knowing she had made her family proud. As Maya stepped into the cool night air, she felt a renewed sense of clarity. The journey ahead wouldn't be easy. There would still be challenges, skeptics, and setbacks, but she was ready. She had proven to herself and the world that she belonged, not because of external validation, but because of the value she brought to the table. And she knew that her work was far from over. There were still barriers to break, voices to amplify, and futures to shape. Little did Maya realize, however, that her impact was only beginning. The events of this single day would set off a chain reaction, inspiring countless individuals and organizations to rethink their priorities and embrace inclusivity. What started as a moment of rejection had become a movement, a testament to the power of turning pain into purpose. And as Maya looked toward the horizon, she smiled, knowing that the best was yet to come. The days following Maya's keynote address at the Tech Summit felt like a whirlwind. Overnight, she had become a global sensation, a symbol of resilience, innovation, and the fight for inclusion in the tech industry. News outlets clamored to feature her story, from local newspapers to international magazines. Cable news shows invited her for interviews, eager to capture her perspective on everything from systemic bias to the future of artificial intelligence. Yet, despite the sudden fame, Maya remained grounded. She understood that the attention wasn't about her as an individual. It was about the message she represented. One morning, Maya woke up to find her inbox flooded with emails. Some were congratulatory notes from colleagues and friends, while others came from strangers who shared their own stories of struggle and perseverance. A young woman named Lisa wrote to thank Maya for inspiring her to pursue a career in engineering after years of doubting herself. "I've always loved math and science," Lisa confessed, "but I never thought someone like me could succeed in tech. Your speech changed my mind." Another email came from a high school teacher in Detroit, asking if Maya would be willing to speak to her students via video call. The teacher explained that many of her students were Black and Latino teens from underprivileged backgrounds who rarely saw people like themselves succeeding in STEM fields. Maya read every message carefully, responding personally whenever possible. She knew how much representation mattered, how seeing someone who looked like you achieve greatness could ignite hope and ambition in others. So, she agreed to the teacher's request, setting aside time in her busy schedule to connect with the students. During the virtual meeting, Maya spoke candidly about her journey, answering questions ranging from coding tips to overcoming self-doubt. At one point, a shy boy raised his hand and asked, "What do you do when people don't believe in you?" Maya smiled warmly before replying, "You keep believing in yourself. Their opinions don't define your worth or your potential." As weeks turned into months, Maya's influence continued to grow. Companies across the globe began reaching out, seeking guidance on how to implement more inclusive practices. Startups run by women and minorities reached out for mentorship, hoping to follow in Maya's footsteps. Even policymakers took notice, inviting her to testify at congressional hearings focused on addressing racial and gender disparities in technology. Through it all, Maya stayed true to her mission, empowering others to break barriers and create opportunities for themselves. But Maya didn't stop there. Recognizing the need for long-term change, she decided to launch a foundation dedicated to supporting aspiring technologists from marginalized communities. Named Pathways to Innovation, the organization aimed to provide scholarships, mentorship, programs, and hands-on workshops to underserved youth. Maya poured her resources into the project, partnering with schools, nonprofits, and corporate sponsors to ensure its success. Within months, Pathways to Innovation had established chapters in major cities around the country, offering free coding, classes, robotics camps, and entrepreneurship training to thousands of students. One of the program's earliest participants was a 14-year-old girl named Amara. Growing up in a low-income neighborhood in Chicago, Amara had always been fascinated by computers but lacked access to proper tools and training. When she heard about Pathways to Innovation through her school counselor, she jumped at the chance to join. Under Maya's guidance, Amara developed her first mobile app, an interactive platform designed to help peers track their academic progress and set goals for the future. By the end of the program, Amara's app had won second place in a national competition, earning her recognition and a scholarship to attend a prestigious STEM academy. Stories like Amara's became commonplace within the foundation, fueling Maya's determination to expand its reach. She traveled extensively, speaking at conferences, universities, and community centers to spread awareness about the importance of diversity in tech. In every city she visited, she met individuals whose lives had been transformed by her work. From single mothers learning web development to formerly incarcerated men finding new careers in cybersecurity, these encounters reinforced Maya's belief that talent exists everywhere. You just have to give people a chance to shine. Despite her growing responsibilities, Maya made sure to carve out time for personal reflection. Late at night, after a long day of meetings and calls, she often sat by her window, gazing at the stars. She thought about how far she'd come, from fixing broken computers in her childhood bedroom to standing on stages alongside some of the most influential figures in the world. Each memory reminded her of the lessons she'd learned along the way: resilience in the face of rejection, humility in moments of triumph, and unwavering faith in the power of hard work. Yet Maya also knew that her journey wasn't without its challenges. As her profile grew, so did the scrutiny. Critics emerged, questioning whether her rise to prominence was purely merit-based or influenced by timing and circumstance. Some accused her of using her past struggles as a marketing tool, while others dismissed her advocacy efforts as performative. Though these accusations stung, Maya refused to let them derail her. Instead, she doubled down on her commitment to transparency, regularly sharing updates about her foundation's impact and encouraging open dialogue about the complexities of systemic inequality. One particularly difficult moment came during a panel discussion at a tech conference in New York. A well-known venture capitalist challenged Maya's assertion that diversity drives innovation, arguing that success should be measured solely by results, not demographics. The room fell silent as the audience waited for Maya's response. Without missing a beat, she leaned forward and said, "Results are important, yes, but they're shaped by the perspectives we bring to the table. If everyone looks the same, thinks the same, and comes from the same background, how can we expect groundbreaking ideas? Diversity isn't just a moral imperative, it's a competitive advantage." Her words earned applause, silencing the critic and solidifying her reputation as a thoughtful yet unapologetic advocate for change. Amid the chaos of her public life, Maya found solace in small, quiet moments. She cherished dinners with her parents, who flew out to visit her whenever they could. They marveled at how their daughter, the little girl who once dismantled old TVs in the living room, had grown into a leader changing the world. She also reconnected with old friends, laughing over memories of late-night study sessions and early mornings spent chasing dreams. These connections reminded her of the importance of staying rooted in love and gratitude, even as her life soared to unimaginable heights. By the end of the year, Maya's foundation had expanded globally, opening doors for countless individuals who might otherwise have been left behind. Schools adopted curriculums inspired by her teachings, companies implemented policies promoting inclusivity, and governments enacted legislation aimed at closing the digital divide. What started as a single act of defiance, a refusal to accept rejection, had blossomed into a movement that transcended borders and industries. Looking back, Maya realized that her greatest achievement wasn't the wealth she had accumulated or the accolades she had received. It was the ripple effect of her actions, the countless lives touched, the barriers broken, and the futures rewritten. And though she knew there was still much work to be done, she faced the road ahead with optimism and resolve. After all, she had proven time and again that adversity could be transformed into opportunity, and that the human spirit, when nurtured and empowered, was capable of extraordinary things. Little did Maya know, however, that the next chapter of her story would test her courage in ways she couldn't yet imagine. But that, as they say, is a tale for another day. As the months passed, Maya's life settled into a rhythm of purpose and progress. Her foundation, Pathways to Innovation, continued to thrive, expanding its reach to countries across Africa, Asia, and Latin America. The program's impact was undeniable. Thousands of young people were gaining access to education, resources, and mentorship they had never dreamed possible. Yet, despite the global acclaim and tangible results, Maya knew that her work was far from finished. Inequality in tech wasn't just a problem. It was a deeply rooted system that required constant vigilance and innovation to dismantle. One crisp autumn morning, Maya received an email that would once again alter the course of her journey. It was from a prestigious international organization, the Global Tech Alliance (GTA), inviting her to deliver the closing keynote at their annual summit in Geneva. The theme of the event was "The Future We Build," focusing on how technology could address some of humanity's most pressing challenges, from climate change to healthcare disparities. For Maya, this invitation carried special significance. Not only was it an opportunity to share her vision on a truly global stage, but it also represented validation of everything she had fought for over the years. When the day of the summit arrived, Maya found herself standing before an audience unlike any she had addressed before. Delegates from over 100 nations filled the Grand Hall, alongside leaders from multinational corporations, NGOs, and governments. Cameras flashed as she walked onto the stage, dressed in a sleek black suit adorned with a gold brooch shaped like a circuit board, a nod to her roots in tech. As she took her place at the podium, the room fell silent, anticipation hanging thick in the air. "Good evening," Maya began, her voice steady and commanding. "Today we gather to discuss the future, a concept so vast, so limitless that it can sometimes feel overwhelming. But let me tell you something. The future is not something we wait for. It is something we create." Her opening line drew murmurs of agreement from the crowd. She went on to outline her vision for a world where technology served as a tool for empowerment rather than exclusion. Using examples from her own experiences, she highlighted how inclusive design could lead to solutions that benefited everyone, not just a privileged few. Maya spoke passionately about the role of collaboration in shaping the future. "No single person or company holds all the answers," she emphasized. "If we want to solve the big problems, poverty, inequality, environmental destruction, we need to come together. We need to listen to voices that have been silenced, learn from cultures different from our own, and embrace ideas that challenge the status quo." To illustrate her point, she shared stories of successful partnerships facilitated by her foundation, such as a project in rural Kenya, where local farmers worked with AI experts to develop predictive models for crop yields. These collaborations weren't just improving lives, they were saving them. Her speech reached its emotional peak when she addressed the skeptics, those who doubted the feasibility of creating a truly inclusive tech industry. "I know there are people who think this is too ambitious, too idealistic," she said, her tone firm yet compassionate. "But I ask you, what's the alternative? Do we continue building systems that leave billions behind? Or do we dare to dream of a better way?" Her words resonated deeply, earning a standing ovation that echoed through the cavernous hall. After the summit, Maya returned home to Atlanta, where she spent time reconnecting with her roots. She visited her old neighborhood, touring the community center where she had first learned to code. Much had changed since then. The center now housed state-of-the-art equipment donated by Technova Solutions, but the spirit of curiosity and determination remained alive. Children gathered around Maya, eager to hear her advice and share their own projects. One boy proudly showed her a robot he had built using recycled materials, explaining how it could sort plastic waste. Tears welled up in Maya's eyes as she hugged him tightly. "You're going to change the world," she whispered. Despite her accomplishments, Maya refused to rest on her laurels. She understood that true progress required sustained effort and accountability. Back at her office, she convened a meeting with her team to evaluate the foundation's next steps. Together, they brainstormed bold new initiatives, such as launching a fellowship program for women entrepreneurs in conflict zones and developing open-source tools to help grassroots organizations scale their impact. Maya encouraged her team to think bigger, reminding them that even the smallest actions could spark monumental change. However, not every moment was triumphant. There were days when the weight of responsibility felt overwhelming, when criticism from detractors threatened to shake her resolve. During one particularly challenging week, a viral article accused Maya of profiteering off social justice movements, claiming her foundation was more about optics than substance. The accusations stung, but instead of lashing out, Maya responded with transparency. She published a detailed report outlining the foundation's achievements, complete with testimonials from beneficiaries and independent audits, verifying its financial integrity. Her calm and measured response disarmed critics and reinforced public trust in her mission. Through it all, Maya leaned on her support system, her parents, friends, and mentors, who reminded her why she had started this journey in the first place. Late one evening, after a long day of meetings, she sat down with her father, sipping hot tea as they reminisced about the past. "Do you ever wonder what might have happened if things had been easier for you?" he asked gently. Maya thought, for a moment before replying, "Maybe. But I don't think I'd be who I am today without those struggles. They taught me resilience, empathy, and the importance of fighting for what's right." As the years rolled on, Maya's legacy grew beyond anything she could have imagined. Schools named scholarships after her, universities invited her to teach, courses on ethical innovation, and documentaries chronicled her rise from obscurity to global prominence. Yet, none of these accolades mattered as much to her as the letters she received from individuals whose lives she had touched. A young man in India wrote to thank her for helping him secure funding to build a low-cost water purification system for his village. A single mother in Brazil expressed gratitude for the coding boot camp that allowed her to start a new career. Each story reinforced Maya's belief that change begins with empowering others to believe in themselves. In her final public appearance before stepping back from the spotlight, Maya delivered a heartfelt message to aspiring innovators everywhere. "Never underestimate the power of your voice," she urged. "Whether you're designing apps, writing code, or simply speaking up against injustice, remember that your contributions matter. You may not see the full impact of your work right away, but trust me, it will ripple outward, touching lives in ways you can't predict." Though Maya eventually retired from active leadership, her influence endured. Her foundation continued to grow under the guidance of the next generation of leaders, many of whom she had personally mentored. And though she preferred to live quietly, away from the glare of fame, her name became synonymous with hope, perseverance, and the relentless pursuit of equity. Looking back on her journey, Maya often reflected on the pivotal moments that defined her path, the rejections, the triumphs, the doubts, and the victories. What stood out most was not the obstacles she faced, but how she had chosen to respond to them. By turning pain into purpose, she had transformed not only her own life, but also the lives of countless others. And as she gazed at the stars one last time, she smiled, knowing that the future she had helped build would shine brightly for generations to come.